Welcome to the TomorrowZone Catalyst Podcast. Today's episode is part of our ongoing series From Spark to Shift, how smart leaders are navigating AI adoption. In each episode, we're talking with visionary leaders about their bold moves, real stories, and shifting from AI talk to traction. Each guest is at a very different place in their AI journey, but all of them are finding great ways to turn potential into progress. So if you're ready to step away from day to day and explore what's possible now and what's next, you're in the right place. So let's get to it. Today's guest is John Fenton, the CEO Sensei. With over 3 decades of executive experience, including his time as a managing partner at BDO USA, John is a trusted guide for leaders navigating high-stakes environments and big decisions. Now, through his executive coaching practice, he works with managing partners, CEOs, and leadership teams to elevate performance while staying grounded in purpose. His approach blends sharp strategic insight with deep commitment to authentic, values-driven leadership. John's journey from the football field to the boardroom and from black belt to best-selling author reflects a powerful integration of discipline, empathy, and resilience. He's here with us today to share what he's learning on the front lines of transformation and how he's thinking about leadership in the age of AI. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Deb. That's a great intro. Thank you very much.
It was such an amazing background, and we recently crossed paths at a business roundtable, and John was sharing his thoughts about transformation and leadership and his enthusiasm for AI, and so I thought, oh my gosh, I just have to have him on the show. So, welcome.
Thank you.
So I was curious, and I'm going off script just a little bit, but I was wondering if we could just get a brief backstory from you. I'm very curious. Where does CEO Sensei come from?
Oh, great. Thank you for asking. So as you mentioned, I'm a black belt in Tai Chi. I discovered, at age 50, the martial art of Tai Chi, but also the mindfulness practices, breathing, mind-body connections, really an integral part of all that. And fell in love with it, fell in love with the discipline and the rigor. And I trained one-on-one with a master for over a year and went through like 12 levels of mastery, if you will. Began kind of teaching, moonlighting on weekends and stuff, teaching classes and that, and really just loved it. I've done week-long retreats in the Coconino National Forest in Arizona near Sedona, and been at the top of the mountain with the top leader in the world and master in this. And when I decided to retire early, 12 years ago now, I was thinking about, well, who am I? What am I? And I'm a teacher, really, and I love teaching and I love sharing. And so Sensei it's really a Japanese term around being a teacher. It comes from the martial arts, right? But I really felt like I had a lot to offer and some guidance that maybe help CEOs and executives and leaders maybe think a little bit differently and achieve more. And that's how I came up with that name.
That is so cool. This always makes me think of Karate Kid because I'm not that familiar with the martial arts. But
yeah, well, this is a very non-combative. It's kind of like hugging. There's a lot of hugging, a lot of breathing. It's not really. It's a non-combative martial art, so it's not real intense in terms of. It can be. There are forms, many forms of Tai Chi, but for me, it's around the mind-body connection and just. Centering myself, centered stillness is a term I like to use. And so I'm constantly reading and studying that as well as many other things in my business world. I use that background amongst many other things that I've done in my life and experiences and transformations, as we talked about earlier, throughout my life to really integrate all that into a way to reach executives and help them be the best they can be.
So it's curious because I know you have a background in football too. And how do the martial arts compare to your experience in the world of football? Because they're so different.
They are very different. You're absolutely right. I think, I think if every football player could actually study the martial arts before they played football, they'd be much better at it, honestly. Because what I found from, again, the rigor, right, the discipline of it. I mean, I'm one of those crazy guys that used to love practices. Okay, when I played football. I would train all year long. Before it was, now it's commonplace. Excuse me, we're talking 45 years ago. Played for the University of Miami, got to play with some great athletes. I mean, Jim Kelly, the Hall of Famer Jim Kelly, and a lot of the guys that played in the NFL and had great careers. And being in that environment is very competitive. Division I football, very competitive. But what I love about it is training all year long and really preparing myself. I always wanted to be prepared. Even you see that picture behind me. The feet in that picture is actually the first day of practice. And the last season I played, and the first day of practice, we had to run a 12-minute run, and I was determined to finish first because I was coming off of you shared your story about an injury. Had a 9-month rehab from a major reconstructive knee surgery the year before playing, and had my last year left. And that was August 1st, 1980, the first day of practice. And we had to prove we're in shape. And I was determined to prove that I was back. And so the rigor of playing football and the discipline to really excel in that sport, you have to use you have to really kind of quiet things down, right? You have to be able to focus. And focus your attention. I played center, and you have to really, really focus because you don't want to miss the snap count, right? Nothing happens if the snap doesn't happen between the change between the quarterback and the center. And so, for me, the discipline of it, and focusing on mind-body connection. Great athletes, superior athletes, have an amazing mind-body connection. They can do things that are phenomenal with their bodies, because they can see it in their mind and they can make it happen. They're so connected that way, right? Another thing too, I think, is athletes talk about being in the zone. There's everything kind of slows down around them, and the martial arts really trains you to really laser focus all of your energy and focus without a lot of noise in your head, to really be laser focused and create that space where you can actually achieve a lot by actually doing nothing. So it's pretty cool.
Well, what a great segue into what we need in the world of business today.
Absolutely. There's so much noise out there, right? So much noise.
Yeah, and especially about AI, which is one of the things I wanted to explore with you. Such a hot topic, but it can also bring so much noise and distraction. I think that, any of these tactics that we can apply to help us get into that focus zone are just going to be an advantage in the days to come.
That's right. The focus zone, I call it the red zone in football. And you obviously were here at the TomorrowZone. So it's all about being in the zone.
Yes. Welcome to the TomorrowZone. So what sparked your AI journey, John?
It's really interesting. It kind of snuck up on me. I've been using some tools that are AI tools. I use an AI tool to record and transcribe meetings. I have a tool that's used for grammar, proper grammar and stuff, and sort of using those tools. And then I was introduced to it through a roundtable, and attended a webinar around ChatGPT and how to create your ideal client handbook on ChatGPT. And so it's really teaching ChatGPT how to learn about you and learn your style, learn your languaging, and build out your business that way. And so I started to use it there and just playing around with it, right? Just using it, just going outside my comfort zone, right? So I talk about that a lot with my clients, and not being afraid to embrace the technology, because the bottom line is it's coming. I was having a conversation with my daughter-in-law, who's a paralegal, and she goes, "Oh, this AI is going to take over our jobs." And I'm like, only if we let it. It's how we relate to it. I think it's how we relate to it and how we can manage it. It's a tool. All right. Other automations are out there as well to help us be more efficient and to really focus on the things we really need to focus on, which is, being in our zone of genius, right? Where do we love to work with our clients, our customers, behind the scenes, with systems, whatever it might be. For each person, it's different. So it's a great tool. And so I kind of said, I need to dive into this and learn this and transform myself again, once again in my life. And then I was introduced to a couple of companies that use AI tools to help clients, my clients, potentially improve their businesses. I started working with them and learning from them, and was leading some discussions with some small groups of CPAs around the country, along with a company called Bill.com, which provides services to small businesses, and was a facilitator of some roundtable discussions, dinner meetings, and with someone I'm collaborating with who has a product that's an AI product to help advisory practices 10x their businesses. And so just learning more from them and being exposed to it. And so for me, it wasn't a big leap once I started playing around with it and just learning these things, just playing around with it. And it sort of like snuck up on me. I just kind of get more and more immersed into it and doing more research around it and how I advise my clients, which primarily are CPA firms, but I have clients in many different industries, helping them to figure out what's next, what's coming down the pike for them to help them really future ready their firms, help them to future ready their firms.
Awesome. Well, we're all about being future ready here at TomorrowZone.
That's right.
I heard some interesting things in your story about your AI journey, and it's interesting because what I heard was immersion, collaboration, and application. Everything has to do with taking action,
Absolutely.
and I'm curious, what did you learn from starting where you did in your AI journey?
Well, it's not perfect, right? And I learned that I have to be very specific. I have to have a clear idea in my head about what I want to accomplish when I start using, particularly ChatGPT and the tools that offers. Also, not taking everything for granted, and so making sure I'm checking. If I use one program for research and Perplexity, it's called, and so I make sure I check the references because I'm going around speaking and writing and talking to clients about some of these things. I want to make sure I'm not spreading some misinformation, right? And so you can't take everything at face value. But the biggest thing I learned was how much time it saved me. How much time it saved me. I write 2 newsletters and a blog, and it's just been amazing doing the research and getting my thoughts together and organizing the presentation because I could spend a whole day just trying to noodling in my head, all wound up in my head about what's the right words, right? And so I'm able to use the tools effectively and then edit to make sure it's pretty much it's learning my languaging and how I think and how I speak and so on as I upload information to it to learn. That I edit so that it is my voice, that it is the thoughts that I want to bring to the table, and that it's based on my experiences and factual information, and not just something conjured up out of the thin air, right? So that's probably the biggest learning is just my own experience in using it and playing with it. And I know I'm just dipping my toe in it right now, really, but also thinking about it in terms of how does it impact my clients, right? And how can they use it? And are there some best practices they can employ right now to begin to embrace it and implement it? And really, it doesn't have to be done overnight, but firms should be taking time now to invest time in it, in their people, with a structured program, not just playing around with it. Without really investing the time into it to learn it and then build some procedures and policies around it so you can use it more effectively in your business. And by the way, everything does not have to be AI. I mean, automation, right?
Say more.
Right? Right. I mean, I was listening, I forget his name now. I should have looked it up. I heard the speaker last July at a accounting conference, and he's been testing all these different AI tools for the accounting industry, and he had a whole list of all of them in ChatGPT and Gemini and Copilot, and all these other products out there, and rating them. And he was on a podcast subsequent to that, and in the podcast he said, I have like 400 automations. Not one of those is for his own business. He has his own accounting firm. To make his life easier, he's implemented like 400 automations. None of those are AI generated. So AI. A colleague recently shared with me, AI is just a fancy tool for automotive tools, right? It's just a marketing tool, really, a marketing brand, I guess. But we can kind of freak out about AI and it's going to take over the world. But I think if we're smart people, I think human interaction is still vitally important, and the value we bring is the experience we bring, and the relationships are so important. The tools are there to help us really streamline the back office, if you will, or the lead up work, the development work that we would spend hours and days developing. We can now streamline that so we can spend more time with our clients, with our customers, with our people, guiding them, teaching them, providing value to them.
I really love the the mindset that I'm hearing from what you're talking about, because you're taking the time to learn, like, what can I do with this tool and how can I apply it? What are the best practices? But also never forgetting that it's really about purpose and value creation and not leaving the humans behind. You're actually leveraging AI to help you to show up more human.
Right. Absolutely.
And I love that. And I'm curious, because you talked about, how thinking about how does this affect your clients and how clients need to invest time in working with their teams. And what we have seen in our work is a lot of this has to do with some mindset shifts that really enable teams to adopt and embrace working with this new type of technology, because it is more of a collaboration than a deterministic system where you're always going to reliably get the same answer. It's not like that with these AI tools. What shifts in thinking or leadership have really helped you to gain traction as you continue to progress with AI, whether for yourself, your clients, or even what you're seeing in the accounting industry?
This is a great question. Well, first of all, you mentioned mindset. I am all about mindset. When I'm coaching and teaching my clients, it's around having a growth mindset, an open mindset, being open to new things. I think we need to be continuously learning. So being open to learning constantly, I think it's just so it makes life so special, right? Whether it's something in your work or something outside of your work, but challenging yourself to learn and grow constantly. The mindset shift, I think, really, it's interesting. I read it. I'm reading a book. You may have heard of the book, 10X is easier than 2X.
I'm my third time through that one right now.
It's like, I'm a little over halfway through first time, but there was a term in there, psychological flexibility, which I view, just without knowing it, that's what I was doing through my life. Because I went from totally focused in college to playing football, wanted to play at the next level. It didn't happen. Of course, my back door was I got my degree. I got my MBA and my accounting degree and business degree while I was there playing football. So I had a 5-year plan and got it all done in 5 years. And but then transforming to a business person, I had no clue what I was doing in public accounting for the year and a half. I mean, I would have fired me the first day probably. I just had no frame of reference. It was totally new and foreign to me what I was doing. But I learned and I adapted and ended up being a managing partner. Spent over 32 years of my life in the accounting profession, and successfully. And although some of my professors thought I'd be better off just going into industry, what they told me. But at any rate, and then deciding to retire early. I took early retirement 12 years ago. And what's next, right? What's next? So having that psychological flexibility, but also having the confidence that I could achieve what I set out to achieve. And there's ups and downs on all those things. But I think having the mindset of being open to change. Change is constant. That's the one thing we know is constant is change. And,
yes.
One of the insights from one of my clients, I was speaking to her a few months ago. It's like, two things she said. One was, you have to make it okay to make mistakes, which is so important. And then, so having that psychological safety, right, in your business to allow people to try things, make mistakes, and innovate. But also, we have to approach change from a different perspective and a kind of a different mindset about it, and not let it grind us down. There is change fatigue, a lot of change inundating people. So, how do we intentionally manage change, put structure around it, so it's just not like a freight train running over all your people and with all these new things coming up. And of course, leaders can really spend a lot of time chasing the shiny objects. If you're a fast forward company and really want to try all the new stuff, some leaders like to do that. I've always been sort of a fast follower. I like that philosophy a little bit better for me personally. Let's try it out. Let's see what's unfolding. See what the fast forward leaders are doing, and then we can learn from that experience. But the mindset really needs to be around focusing on growth and evolving with it. To move forward. And it's kind of how I've adapted to using AI, because I up 2 years ago, I never really thought much about AI, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm using it all the time, and I just kind of flowed into it, right, without resistance. I think that's a big thing too. Is there's a lot of resistance to change. It's human nature.
Well, actually, that's one of the things I wanted to dig into, John. What have you learned that others need to hear, especially about resistance or even unexpected wins?
But I think what I've learned is that from my research and talking to leaders around the country, slow things down, but take action now. Don't wait. The Navy SEALs have a great motto: slow is smooth is fast. Right. So take action. That's the important thing: is take action, but do it intentionally. Don't lose sight of your purpose. So be grounded in your purpose and your vision for your firm, your business. And start out small. Take small steps. Allow for some failures, right? Learn from that process. So you may have a small group of people in your firm that really want to embrace this, and let them play with it, let them use it, develop some feedback from that process. Keep it small, so you're not investing tons of time or money into it, and no big. Obviously, you'll keep any risk you run into will be minimal, and then build some procedures around it. And then map out a strategy over the next 18 months or so, or 24 months, about how you're going to continue to implement it and finding new ways to implement. So it's really around change management and those kinds of things. And I think some people are happy to just keep doing things the same old way, and that's okay. You can do that. I think that's personally, I believe that's a race to the bottom, or a race to irrelevance, right? So why not play all in? It's like playing a football game, right? It's just play all in, right? Give it everything you've got. What's the future going to hold? What's the game you're playing? What's the field you're playing on? What does winning look like to you? Be intentional about that, and then put the resources behind it to invest in your people and the technology. Definitely want to invest in the people, train your people. Your people they want to feel like they belong to your organization and contribute. There's people probably chomping at the bit who want to embrace these technologies and show that they matter. They want to feel like they matter in something larger than themselves. Really, most people do. Some people won't. You'll figure out who they are quickly. So invest in the people who really want to embrace change and move forward, and learn. Always continuously learning from that process.
I think that's really key. That's something that we actually practice at TomorrowZone. We have a motto internally here, and in the team we say it's a little different from what they say in Silicon Valley: move fast and break things, or fail forward. But we always say think big, start small, and learn forward fast. And I think that really fits what you're talking about, because really, even beyond just change management, what it's about is creating a capability and enabling the ability for your team to continue to learn forward, because these tools are changing all the time. It feels like every other day my mind is blown with some new advancement on the scene, and whatever you thought you knew, it's probably stale already. The half-life of what you're learning with AI, if it's tools-based, is pretty slim. But when it comes to your mindset, your ability to think and to problem solve in new and extraordinary ways, because these tools are an amplifier, that's an incredible potential that we have in front of us. And so it does force us to think a little different, and to be open to that, becoming a learning organization.
Absolutely. Amplify the human experience.
Yeah.
Right. The ability to amplify the human experience. I mean, I'm thinking about the accounting profession. So there's lots of mundane things firms are still doing day to day that can be solved by simply automating. And I'm not talking about even AI tools, just simple rethinking how they do things.
Basic automation.
Yeah, basic automation to free yourself up to really dive into, like, just roll around in your zone of genius, the things you love to do, and serving your clients and bringing ideas to them, or researching, or whatever it might be in the accounting profession. just amplifies the client experience. And by the way, those clients they're doing their own AI research and probably looking at tools to use in their own business. So you want to be conversant in all this stuff so you can actually give them good advice, so that you don't lose step.
Well, I think that that's a really great shift into the next question I wanted to ask you. I know that you're doing a lot of work in the accounting space. A lot of my focus is in the commercial equipment finance space and adjacent markets. And so accounting is a big part of what we're doing, what my clients are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you thinking about what's next for AI for the accounting space? What are you seeing?
I think what's next, I've been kind of beating this drum for a while too, not so much from an AI perspective, but we got to get away from being tied to the billable hour, because the value we bring to our clients is not the billable hour, it's the insights that you bring to your client. I literally had a CEO of a pretty large firm in New York as a client. And earlier in the year, we were talking about innovation and technology and investment. And he said, well, if we start using AI tools and automation and we do things faster, we'll have to lower our fees. I said, time out. No. They're paying for the value you bring. They're not paying for the amount of hours you've spent, whether it's efficient or inefficient, on researching or whatever it is you thought you had to do to prepare whatever it is that client wanted. They're looking for outcomes, and they want to see value in terms of your insights, which is based on your experience, your decades of experience, and serving other companies and the work that you've done to that point in time. It's not about how many hours you put into a project. So I think as we continue to evolve, it's really an evolution right now. Like you said, the pace of change is crazy since COVID, right? Everything has just gone crazy, nuts, fast. But if we can step back, use a little bit of my martial arts training now, step back and take a deep breath, really center ourselves, and slow things down a little bit and really focus on where we want to invest our time and our resources. And how does that meet the vision we or I have of our firm, our business? How does it fit into our culture? So integrate all those things. And by the way, filling out timesheets and expense reports and, tracking people on a schedule and all these crazy things we're doing are just really their time. We think they're really making us efficient. They're time wasters.
Yeah, I call it administrivia.
Yeah, exactly. So if we can find ways to streamline those things and automate those things, it allows us to spend most of our time on the things that are going to help propel our business exponentially and not focus on all the mundane things that aren't going to help us get there.
That's beautiful. And I love the thought of leveraging technology to help you really show up and focus on what matters and what really does deliver value to clients. And the other thing that I'm hearing is something that I've been talking about for a while, innovation. When I asked you about what's next for the industry, you didn't turn to tools first. Innovation's never only about technology. And what I'm hearing is that the evolution is at the business model level. And that's a big shift. And what a fun time to be alive, where we can even think about business completely differently and reimagine what's possible now because we have all this capability in our hands.
I just got a chill down my spine when you said that. That's really, I was speaking to the South Carolina Association of CPAs last month, and I said, what an amazing time to be in the profession right now. Think about all the things we could be doing differently and things we've been talking about for decades, automating things and being more efficient and working remotely and all that kind of stuff. And now it's in the forefront. So let's embrace it and take advantage of it and keep building our future-ready firms.
Love it. Love it. Shaping the future, not being afraid of it, but making it happen. So I can't believe how fast the time has flown by. I have a lightning round prepared for you.
Okay,
so these
good.
are just quick questions, short answers. So the first one, fill in the blank. AI is only as powerful as blank.
Our human intention.
Ooh, that's good. What's one
you.
word that describes your AI journey?
Evolving.
Oh, yeah, I definitely see that. What do you wish someone had told you at the beginning?
Start early. Start early, implement early, because what a time saver it's been. It's really freed me up to be more creative with my writing and also with my clients.
Awesome. Awesome. Love it. John, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us.
This has been awesome, Deb. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on with you today.
So, to our listeners, I hope that you took away some awesome wisdom nuggets from that conversation. I know I did. I've got a couple pages of notes here going on the side. As always, we love it if you like and subscribe, share the episode with a friend. Thank you again for tuning in. Until next time, stay curious and choose to make awesome happen.